Guys, it's Desiree. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title of the video, we are going to be talking about every book that I've read this summer.
It was late at night. You tossed and turned as thoughts began to play. How can this be life?
I hope this angle isn't that off. I thought it would be really fun to film here in the green room. You probably can't tell it's the green room, but anyways, I just thought it'd be really fun to change it up for my bedroom. So if you see me looking down, I have my script, I guess you could say, of everything that I read right here. So that's why I'm looking down. And then I also have my books. So I guess you can say that this summer was the summer of the Kindle, because I was looking at all my I was looking at my list that I made of all the books that I read for each month, and all of them, almost all of them, are Kindle books. I only have 6 physical books with me right here, and 3 out of the 6 I'm not even finished with, but I did start them, so I'm going to talk about them. But yeah, so let's get into it. Alright, so actually, really quickly, I do want to see when was it that I bought my Kindle, because I feel like that would explain why this was the Kindle, the summer of the Kindle. Okay, makes sense. Alright, so I just pulled up the video from when I had bought my Kindle, and it totally makes sense on why this summer was the summer of my Kindle, because I literally bought it on June 1st, or it came to me on June 1st, so makes sense now. Okay, so starting, I went through my Goodreads, and I went day from I think when I started and finished the book. So we're gonna start from the top. I know this video is gonna be so talky, so I'm gonna try to go kind of quickly, because there's a lot of books and a lot of things I want to talk about. So starting with book number 1, it's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. As you guys know, I did start the Summer I Turned Pretty series in May and finished the first book in May, so that's why it's not going to be in this video. But I had to wait to get this second book because I was in Boston when I finished the book, and there was a Barnes & Nobles where I was by, and they didn't have it in store. So then when I came home, I didn't even have a car yet, so I couldn't go to Barnes & Nobles, and nobody wanted to go with me. So I bought my Kindle, and I read the sample on my Kindle, which brought me to chapter 4, and then it wasn't until I want to say weeks after that I finally went to Barnes & Nobles and got the second and last book. I do think I made a video when I bought the books. I don't know if I put it up, but anyways. So I gave this book... Oh, I guess I should give you a little synopsis. Oh, it's upside down. I guess I should give you a little synopsis on what this book is. So if you haven't read the first book in the series, you might want to skip over this part, but I'll put a timestamp, or I'll put chapters when I talk about each book. We learn more about Belly and Conrad's relationship throughout the summer and why they broke up. It's the next summer after Susanna had died. So it's the first summer without them going to the beach house, the first summer without them doing all their beach house traditions. And she's home for the summer. This all takes place during I want to say 3 days. Jeremiah calls Belly because Conrad's gone missing, and then they end up finding out that he is at the beach house. They go to the beach house. They try to convince him to come back because he's taking summer classes and he needs to take his finals, and he refuses to leave. So overall, I gave this book 2 stars. Honestly, I didn't think it was necessary. To be honest, I would have been completely happy with the first book being that's it. Let it be the first book and then just let it finish at that. To be honest, I don't really think this book needed a series, because this book, there really was no point in having this book. All it was just us finding out what happened between Conrad and Belly over the winter break, and then Conrad trying to save the house. So to be honest, I hate love triangles. It's just a no for me. I'm not really big on love triangles. And then love triangles between 2 brothers, no. And then honestly, I gave it 2 stars because it just felt unnecessary. It only took place in 3 days. There really was no point for it. So, no. Alright, the next book, which is actually my second 5-star book ever. The next book I got on my Kindle. It was free through Kindle Unlimited. I have Kindle Unlimited, so it was free through Kindle Unlimited. I recommend if you have it. From Look Off With Love by Marina Zapata. Or Mariana Zapata. Mariana Zapata. Ew. So this is my first Mariana Zapata book, and I see the hype. She is literally the queen of a slow burn. I think because I loved Jasmine and Ivan so much, because I related to both of them. Uncanny how much I related to Jasmine, so much that I couldn't even tell that the book was a slow burn. Like, I didn't even realize, like, as the pages were going, how quickly I was reading and how slow the book is. Like, looking back on it now, they really did not get together until I want to say like the last 2 chapters, and I was completely okay with that. Like, I think because Zapata did such a good job at like keeping the banter between the two and like the hatred that they had for each other, and their like just quick, witty, like tit for tats, it made the fact that they weren't together for me perfectly fine. If I'm reading a book and the 2 characters have amazing banter, like quick on their feet replies, and like everything, makes a book 10 times better than me. I love good banter. That is like probably, if you have really good banter, it's probably gonna put you very high on my list. So it was just amazing, and like all of Jasmine's inner monologue about her like hard work and feeling like she's unseen, and all this just related so much to me. I don't have the physical book. I did go to Barnes & Noble to try to get the physical book, and then I found out that because it's through, I think it's indie publishing she did, I'd have to buy it online so that it can get actually printed into a book and they could send it to me. One of these days I'm going to do that. I just don't feel like doing it right now. So, next book. I, as you guys know, dipped my toe into Lauren Asher, and then from then on it has just been a Lauren Asher whirlpool I was in for the rest of June. So, starting off with the Billionaire series. I feel like I've talked about this. Book number 1, The Fine Print. Fine Print is the first book in the series. Then there is Terms and Conditions, and the last book is going to be Final Offer, and I believe that comes out January of next year. Could be wrong on that, but anyways, so starting with Fine Print. 3 brothers. I'm going to go really quickly. 3 brothers, the Kane brothers, I believe is their last name. It's been a minute since I've read it. The Kane brothers. Rowan, Declan, Callahan. First book, Rowan. Rowan is the youngest sibling, and their grandfather dies. Their grandfather pretty much owns Dreamland, aka Disney, if you really want to talk, you know what I'm saying? Pretty much it's Disney. So his father, or their grandfather, all left them in his will like a challenge for them to do, and in order, like, they have a year, sometimes a couple months for this challenge, and if they complete it, then they get their share of the business. If they fail, then it goes to their abusive piece of shit father. So obviously they don't want that to happen. So Rowan had to create like a new attraction to bring to Dreamland and get back in touch with his creative side. When I first read this book, I think I gave this book like 4 stars, 4 or 3 stars. But then when I like sat with the book and actually looked back on it, I gave it 2 stars. I just really wasn't feeling it. Like, I'm glad Rowan and, damn, why am I looking at everybody's name? What the hell is her name? I need to at least get her name. Give me a second. Is her name like Gianna or something? Or no, God, not even that. Zara. I'm glad that they're a couple because we got to see them as a couple in Terms and Conditions. But honestly, their book was kind of like meh for me, because I mean, it's a workplace romance. Jesus Christ. And it was good, but like, I don't know, looking back on it, like, they're really there really was no, like, not that there wasn't a spark between them, but like there wasn't anything that made this book like, that's my favorite book. No. But when we talk about Terms and Conditions, which is the second book, now that book is, I gave Terms and Conditions 4, almost 5 stars. The only reason why I didn't give it 5 stars is because something there, I don't know what it is, but something just didn't give me that, like, my 5-star feeling. But it would very much, it's like right at the end, I would give it like a 4.95, like right there to crossing over to a 5, but not a 5 just yet. So, Terms and Conditions, Declan. This is the oldest brother. This man has my heart. He is, I think, the grumpiest, the grumpiest man that I've read in a romance book so far. Oh my god, a butterfly just flew past the window. Anyways, so his challenge, I'm gonna call him challenge. His challenge is he has to get married and have an heir within the first year of them getting their challenge. And obviously, he was just going to marry some random lady, have a baby, and get his share. But, so the book opens up. Okay, wait, let me backtrack a little bit. So in fine print, we learn about Iris. Iris is Declan's assistant. And I want to say like towards the end half of fine print, they make a couple appearances. And even like through Rowan's inner monologue, he even is like, I don't understand why Iris is will Declan pretty much ever realize how much Iris does for him? Like, I could kind of see them being a thing. Bam, it is book 2. It was just so good because Declan is so grumpy. And Iris is the only person really that knows how to handle him. Like, not even his brothers really know how to handle him anymore. Like, Iris just has, like, this touch when it comes to him. And yeah, it was just amazing getting to read Declan slowly coming into his feelings for Iris. At the same time that Iris, I want to say, was like coming more into her feelings, but also like trying to keep distance because she didn't want him to get too crazy. So that was the 2 first books in the Dreamland series, Dreamland Billionaire series. And then as I was literally in the middle of reading Terms and Conditions, I was like, I kind of want to see some of Lauren Asher's other work. Bam, went onto her little author profile and bam, saw the entire Dirty Air series. And I fell down a fucking wormhole. So let's get into it really quickly because we haven't even tapped into July. I've been talking for 20 minutes. Okay, so Dirty Air series consists of 4 books. There's Throttled, Collide, Wrecked, Redeem. I've talked about these books so much. And I'm talking about them again. So, this is a Formula 1 racing book. If you don't know anything about Formula 1, I highly recommend, as I've said 500 times, highly recommend watching Formula 1 Drive to Survive on Netflix. At least watch the first season, then maybe read the books. Because the first season gives you the entire basis of what Formula 1 is. And it really, really helps for when you go into the books. I know a lot of people read the books and then watch the series. Even though they don't they don't go hand in hand. It just really helps that they help each other out. So Throttled. This is Noah and Maya's book. This is like forbidden romance, rivals, like brothers rival. And yeah, pretty much that's that trope. So at first I gave this book, I want to say like 4 stars, and then again reevaluating, I gave it 2 stars because this book was good, but it was giving like too much. So pretty much Maya is traveling with her brother Santiago, and she's traveling with him for the season, and she creates her own YouTube channel. So it's very much YouTube influencer. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, I know. Okay. Obviously, I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, I know what it is to be a YouTuber. Obviously, not a lot of people have that or have that experience, so they don't know what it is. But I don't know. Something about this book just felt too influencer for me. Not to mention, the writing kind of felt Wattpad-y. But I didn't want to like completely discard the series because this was I believe, Lauren Asher's first book and first book in the series. So obviously, this book is old. But yeah, this book, 2 stars for me. It was like once they started dating, and then they, you know, had their like third acts arguments and then got back together. I just felt like the book was just dragging for so long. To the point where I was literally just skimming pages to be done with it. So then, oh yeah, okay, so then after that, I immediately went into Wrecked. I did not read Collision, so I really can't give you like my full thoughts on the series. But to be honest, I feel like if I read Collision, it would have got the same rating as Throttled, because so Collision is Liam and Sophie's story, and Sophie actually becomes Maya's best friend. Liam is one of Noah's best friends, so Throttled and Collision take place during the same F1 series, so we pretty much are getting their story in Maya's book, so it's like I don't really need to read their story. I'm already hearing it in Maya's book. So yeah, no, so I immediately went into Wrecked. When I tell you Wrecked is the best book, I don't know what it is with Lauren Asher and the second books in her series, but she is like popping her shit, because this book I gave it 4 stars also, but honestly I'm contemplating giving it 5 stars, because this book is so good. So good. So good. Like, so good. It's just so good. This book has amazing mental health awareness. It has, like, this book is, like, I don't even know where to start. So, this book is Jax and Elena, and I love this book for many reasons. 1, Elena is Hispanic. 1, Jack is black. Hello, their love child right here. Not to mention, I feel like you can't read this book and not imagine Lewis Hamilton, but like a little bit different, because Lewis Hamilton is such a sweetheart. I feel like he's such a sweetheart, and Jax got grit to him. Jax got many layers and grits to him before you get to the sweetheart, and that's just not what Lewis is. So, but like I kind of imagine Lewis. Jax is a PR nightmare, fucking nightmare. This man gets drunk like a skunk. He goes home with all these girls, and he's just putting his image in the shitter, and his driving isn't the best. So they hire Elena, which is his PR agent, aka his babysitter, and of course she's tasked with setting his image straight. This book, when it like there's so many good things about this book, like I don't even know where to start. This book just did so good at talking about, I feel like, death of family members, like grief, dealing with like health issues, especially within your family, and like I'm trying not to give away, but like every little aspect of this book is so good. Honestly, I think I'm going to change my rating from 4 to 5 stars. So I give that book 5 stars. All right, now we are going to go into July. Alrighty, so in the month of July, I only completed 2 books. I did start a lot of books in July, but never like fully finished them. I only finished 2 books. And also I was, around July, I want to say I was falling into like a reading slump. Like literally reading all Lauren Asher. I was finding myself kind of falling into a reading slump. So I was like, I need to switch it up, need to change things up. So these 2 books I found by chance. Okay, so on the Kindle app, what you can do on your Kindle or on your phone, whenever I'm searching for new books, I like to do it kind of on my phone because it just works a lot faster. Obviously, the Kindle has a lag to it, and with my phone on the Kindle app, I can just bust shit out like that. So, I was going through, it gives you a lot of suggestions based on your reading, like here are some books you would like. So, I was going through and I saw this book called Blindside by Kennedy Steiner, and I'm so glad that I found this because I found, I think, one of my new favorite authors. Love Kennedy Steiner. Like, Steiner, I love. So, we will get there in a second. But I found Blindside, and I was like, okay, this is a cute, like, fake dating. I can get behind this. I'm going to read this. It's also sports. To be honest, I think from here down, everything is sports romances. Yeah, here down, everything is sports. Like, once I got into F1, it's all sports romance. So, different sports, but still. So, let me pull up their names because I forgot. Blindside, beautiful book. So, I guess we'll talk about the reading order first, and then we'll get into Blindside. So going into Blindside, after I read it, I did not realize that although Blindside is a standalone, it kind of I should say it laps over with her other book that she had released, I believe, within the same year, called Fair Catch. So you can read these two books completely alone, but they do go. It's nice if you read them, I guess, in order. I read Blindside first. Obviously, I didn't know that there was another book you kind of should have read before that. And I wasn't really planning on reading Fair Catch, but honestly, we'll get to that in like a second. But you can read Fair Catch. Anyways, Fair Catch is Zeke and Riley, and Blindside is Clay and Gianna. Zeke and Riley obviously make appearances in Blindside because Blindside is about a football player, Clay, and his, I'm going to call her PR. I'm going to call her a PR person. I'm not sure if that's really what her, like, job title is, but that's what I can think of right now. Their PR girl, Gianna. Clay is on the college football team with Zeke and Riley. Also, Riley is the only female on the football team, so let's go, queen. And that's what their book talks about. Anyways, back to this book. I keep straying. Back to this book. Yeah, so Clay is normally like the sweetheart that Gianna never has to worry about when it's time to like do press. He goes through a really bad breakup, and when it's time for him to do press, he embarrasses the shit out of her. Obviously, her job is on the line because she works with these men. So she has to have a meeting with him and tell him, like, listen, you need to get your shit together. I know you're going through some stuff right now, but you need to get your shit together. So we end up finding out that his pretty much, I guess you could say, high school sweetheart and him, who were literally going to get married. He was thinking of marriage with this girl. They did long distance for 4 years. And then finally she transfers over to his school. When his girlfriend moves to his school, she ends things with him. When they're having this meeting, he realizes that Gianna has this crush on this guitarist that plays at their, like, campus cafe or whatever. So he creates a plan with her. He was like, if you help me get my ex back, I will help you get this man. Anyways, gave this book 4 stars, almost 5 stars, because I loved it. So good. So then, the next book I read, which I actually kind of want to read more for work, but, excuse me. The next book I read was last on this list by Amy, I don't know how to say her last name, So, this book is a single father, like, nanny romance. So, Max is like a millionaire, pretty much. He's a big, strong businessman. And he gets his daughter for the summer. And obviously, he wants to make her summer memorable, but he has to work. So he hires a nanny. All the nannies that they've gone through are bores. So in comes Cassandra. And she is like honestly, I wouldn't even know if I would want my kid. That sounds really bad. But she is like fly by the seat of your pants. Like, so against his better judgment, the daughter technically hires Cassandra. And she moves into the tiny house behind the house because he wants her close to the daughter. And obviously, I feel like there's not much to have to be said there. They, through this, make a relationship. The attraction is there off the back. Also, this is great. There is a note. This is amazing plus size representation. And the way that this man worships this girl's body. Like, the descriptions he says when he's talking about her body. If I can find screenshots, I'm going to put them up. Yes, so, a little fun. Y'all, my dogs just scared the crap out of me. A little fun fact about this book, which I did not read until literally after I read it. So, in this book, Max has a pretty big friend group. We meet all the couples. And when I was looking up this book on Goodreads, I was like, why is this saying number 5? Comes to find out, this book, last on the list, is book number 5 in a, how many books is this series? I think it's a 5-book, yeah, it's a 5-book series. So, each book obviously follows each couple, which I really liked how in this book we get like all the couples and like the whole friend group, which I loved so much. I'm debating if I want to read the other books in the series, But honestly, last on this list was so good. I might read some of the other ones. But yeah, I gave that book 4 stars, almost 5. So now we're going to go into August. Y'all, God bless. This is going to be a really long video. Because I haven't even talked about books that I haven't even finished and my DNFs. Because I did DNF a couple. Especially like these last 2 days. I've been going through like a clean out of my Goodreads. Alright, so August is where I want to say I did the most of my reading. Almost like June. So, again, I feel like I have been going in and out of like an almost reading slump. But like not enough. So I decided, like, I'm just going to try, like, when I feel myself going into reading slumps, I'm going to read authors that I, like, know are going to pull me out of it. So, we started off the month strong with another Kennedy Steiner book, Neat. This fucking book. Neat. Like, I'm sorry, I'm so giddy right now. Okay. Neat is the second book in a 4-book series, the Becker Brothers series. So, Neat follows, can I remember their names off the top of my head? Logan, what is her name? Mallory Scooter. So, this is like a modern day Romeo and Juliet. Fun fact, never read Romeo and Juliet, never even watched the Romeo and Juliet movie, but I do know the plot of Romeo and Juliet. So, the Beckers and the Scooters. Yes, the Becker and the Scooters are pretty much enemies. So a little history we get. Honestly, I low-key feel like, I didn't read the first book in the series, but I low-key feel like Neat would have been a good first book because it gives you back history on the family lineage. But yeah, anyway, so some background history to the Scooters and the Beckers. Their great-great-grandfather started this distillery, and like a whiskey distillery, and when they pretty much co-owned it. When the Scooters' great-grandfather passed away in his will, he did not put the Beckers as co-owners, so it obviously went to the Scooters family, and son through son took over the business, and little by little they've been trying to kick the Beckers family out. So, some more back history to this. Logan's father worked in the distillery, and when he was working, there was a fire. He was the only person that was still in the building when the fire happened, meaning he died. So, with that being said, obviously the Beckers think that the Scooters were the cause of the fire, which is why their father died, so at the same time that these books are going, all 4 books are going, it's kind of also like a slight mystery because little by little, each book, we're getting closer and closer to figuring out what actually happened with their father and who did it and all this stuff. So, Mallory is the owner's daughter. She just came back from art school. She's been doing art school for 5 years. She has a terrible relationship with both her parents. She's the black sheep of the family, black sheep of the town, pretty much. He makes a deal with her that he will buy her a studio if she works part-time at the distillery, and she does. Also, her grandfather is like the manager of the distillery, but he's like about to leave his position to retire, and Logan is pretty much next in line for his position, but because they brought in Mallory, everybody thinks that they're secretly trying to get her to get into that position to keep it within the Scooter family. It is so good because obviously like they get together and they can't tell anybody because their families hate each other. Like there's so much deep-rooted hatred that they can't tell each other. And it's actually kind of sad because when they do get together, like although Mallory is okay with like her family not knowing, like she doesn't really confide in her family, Logan and his family are super, super close. So he's keeping this really big thing that makes him happy from his family. And he can't, like, share that with his family. Like, they can't be happy with him. So, it's really sad. This book was also one of those books that was almost a 5 stars for me. Baby, the spice. Oh, God. The spice. Let me tell y'all. When I read Blindside, I was like, woo, this is a lot for me. When I read Neat, The first scene, the y'all, I don't know who watches my videos, so I'm not gonna go too in detail, but as you can tell, I'm getting giddy. It was, oof. Okay, so yeah, I've been talking for so long. I'm sorry, I said this video was gonna be fast. I lied. Anyways, this month I actually decided I was gonna finish a whole bunch of books that I had started, because I have currently 9. Well, now I'm currently 9 current reads on my Goodreads. I'm in between a lot of books right now, so I decided I'm gonna try to knock out my current reads list and finish them, or DNF, whatever I'm gonna DNF. So starting off with, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish the Lauren Asher Dirty Air series. Probably not gonna recollide, I'm sorry, but to me, I finished the series. Anyway, so I read Redeemed. At the beginning of Redeemed, I was very like, okay, this is a 4-star book. As the book went on, though, more and more as I read it, I was like, yeah, this is giving very lackluster. Like, it's not hitting. It's not hitting. It was giving very much throttled. So with that being said, I gave this book 2 stars. I love Santiago, and I was really, really excited for his book, because the way that people hyped up this book, I was thinking that the way people were hyping up Wrecked and Redeemed, I was like, okay, so Wrecked is pretty much a 5-star book for me. So Redeemed is getting even more praise. It's going to be damn near 10 stars. And it was 2 stars for me. It just was not hitting. Like, it just was not hitting. But I will say what was good about it, though, was something happened at the beginning of the book to Santiago, and throughout the entire book, he has to, like, rebuild up his confidence. In the first book, you can hear and see how super confident Santiago is. So when it comes around to his book, he is completely in the shitter, and it is him building himself back up. So I love that aspect of him working through his own, like, hardships. That was really, really good. That I would give, that part of the book I would give like 4 stars, but the actual book I gave 2. So yeah. So then I dabbled into Black authors, because I obviously, as you guys know, this is my first year of reading, so I just haven't really broadened my reading experience to Black authors yet, and I have. Boy have I, and boy am I gonna be stuck. Love it. Anyway, so I decided to give Kennedy Ryan a shot, because I do know that the top authors that I've at least heard of, Black authors, is Kennedy Ryan and Tila Herbert, which I read both of those this month, and we're going to get into them. So, starting off strong, I started with Long Shot, which is the first book in the Hoop series. The Hoop series is a 3-book series. It follows August Becker, Jared Foster, and is it Keenan or Kanan? I don't know how to say his name, and I don't know his last name. But it's those 3 books. So, pretty much Austin and Kay, we're going to call him Kay. Austin and Kay are on the same basketball team, and Jared is Austin's stepbrother. So that's how they all connect. But in Long Shot, we meet Iris, Caleb, and August. I am so beyond happy that I did what I do and I go on TikTok before I read a book, because a lot of people say to go into this book blindsided. I completely disagree. Do not go into these books blindsided at all. I almost always try to go into a book blindsided or like semi-blindsided. Do not go into this book blindsided. Please, 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 please check the trigger warnings. I'm going to link a TikTok down below. And I actually even just put it up silently. Watch this TikTok, because it doesn't spoil it. It doesn't spoil the book, but it gives you like, it gives you what to be prepared for. Although I did look at the trigger warnings and I was prepared going into this book, I still don't think I was as prepared going into this book. I have not read Hookshot, so I don't know how dark or deep that one's gonna get, but Longshot I feel like is the darkest, one of the darkest books that I've read. This book is very hard to read, to get through. If you do decide to read it, if you can get through it, it is so beautiful once you make it to the end. Like, looking back, this book is just gorgeous. I've read It Ends With Us, and It Ends With Us talks about domestic violence. Yes. Longshot talks about domestic violence even more than It Ends With Us. So if reading It Ends With Us was too hard, I would not recommend reading Long Shot, in the sense that it is just like It Ends With Us, but a lot more. This book honestly took me the entire summer to finish. I started reading it in June and I did not finish it until, like, I want to say a couple weeks ago in August. So yeah, I gave this book 3 stars, and not because of the domestic violence. I thought that was like handled really well. I gave this book 3 stars because, I don't know, something about it just like wasn't really hitting. So after I read Long Shot, I just needed something good, happy, fun to uplift me, because although it was a happy ending, that book was very dark, and I really wanted to like dabble into the Mindfuck series, and I know that's along the lines of very heavy trigger warning like stuff. So I was like, I just need some fun, lighthearted books to get me going before I go into anything deep and dark again. And that brings us to The Princess Trap by Tilly Herbert. I read the sample for this book because I was like, I don't know if I want to buy it. It's $5, like $6. Read the sample and I was like, I need to buy this right now. But I had to wait a week to buy it because I was broke. And when I bought it, literally read it and finished it in 2 days. So, this book, any and everything a girl could fucking want. So, this book follows Ruben and Cherry. Yes, her name is Cherry. 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 Like the fruit. With that being said, that is everything that I attempted to read and DNF'd this, or everything I read and attempted to read and DNF'd this summer. I'm going to do a second video with everything that I started but haven't finished, and then all my other DNFs. So, excuse me, I will link that down below if you guys want to watch that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!